Moving on to the Open Division, let's have a look. This is a little bit of a different format. There are 24 teams, and they opted away from 4 pools of 6 or 6 pools of 4. The competition committee have their reasons for that, and there are 8 pools of 3. Top seeds go through automatically, 2 games on Friday and then a break, while the 2s and 3s cross over. Of course, the winners of those games go into a bigger bracket. So the bracket for women's and mixed is an 8-team bracket, a direct quarter bracket. This is a 16-team bracket, so pre-quarters, if you will. So yes, winning your pool for the Open Division, a big advantage. You get a game off on the first day, while the 2s and 3s cross over and slug it out and expend a little bit more energy. Let's have a look at how these 8 divisions break down. I didn't mention Ranelagh, of course, defending champions here. Pool A, let's bounce it to Benji.
Mooncatchers, maybe the favourites this year. Belgian Open won EUC, so I think everyone knows what Mooncatchers are all about at this point. Fab Flying Angels Burn. It's been a little over a decade since they won back-to-back EUCFs, but again, they're certainly not going to be an easy out. And Otso from Finland, kind of been a consistent European qualifier.
Lorcan, anything to add, or shall we save it for the patron only? You got any tidbits?
Otso against Fab will be an interesting matchup, but yeah, I agree. Mooncatcher's probably the favourites coming into this tournament.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say is that, we all know about Moon. Fab got the second qualification out of the South, while Frisbee didn't qualify, and a month before, Frisbee beat the crap out of Fab in the Swiss National Championships this year. So very interesting to see, Fab bounce back after losing the national championship, and Frisbee. Yeah. Well, I mean, which one is the right time to go to Europeans? You would believe, but there's a lot of pride in taking home those national championships as well. But if you don't feature in the big dance, that national championship trophy loses a bit of luster. Let's go to Pool B. Lorcan.
Ooh, this is exciting. Oh, this is a spicy group. I've always liked Uprising. I think they got a lot of heart. They're going to need it. Bad Skid against Clapham. I think this smacks of Bad Skid beating Clapham in a pool game, and then Clapham still making it further in the tournament than them. But that's going to be a spicy matchup, because Clapham finally dethroned, which I'm sure we'll talk about more. So I'm very excited to see how they bounce back, because that's not really something they've ever had to do before.
Yeah.
No, this is already shaping up to be like one of those matches that you circle coming into the week. Be like, we're getting eyes on that somehow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is. Clapham has been a year that they would probably like to forget. Most other teams in Europe is a year that they would be more than happy to have. But because of how much winning they've done over the past, they've not been right at the top, and that's where we expect them. Now they come into this pool, and with pools of 3, this could be a pool of death. Again, if Bad Skid can knock them off early in the tournament, and Clapham has to play one more game on day 1, could that be another difference? I got lots to say about this division. We will leave most of it for the patron only. Uprising, though, too, you said it, they've got a lot of heart, they've got a lot of height. That is a big Polish team. I remember Isno taking them on at EUCX. Yes, it was, and they were handled in that game, but I was very impressed with the amount of height that those guys had, ex-EUCF, rather. And I was very impressed with the deep game that the Polish Uprising team was able to present. So, and they're going to need that with Bad Skid and Clapham in their group. So let's see what happens there. We'll talk a bit more about that in the patron only section.
Yeah, we rely a lot on our deep game. When you're playing bad skid and Clapham, yeah, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah,
Go for it.
yeah. Steph Dosher's. Well, yeah, I mean, he was playing both ways too, and
you gotta beat him somehow. You gotta beat him somehow.
yeah.
That's true. You got to trip him. Trip him is my advice.
All right, Pool C, Benji.
More hometown representation here. Panthers Wrocław. Not the pool I'd want to be the one seed in, given that you've only got the defending European champions Ranelagh and a former Worlds quarterfinalist in Czech. Nice easy one there for you lads.
Yeah.
I mean, you jest, but is this the Ranelagh that we saw last year? I would imagine they're gonna be.
It's not.
No, it isn't. Right, we know that it's
isn't.
not. But does that mean that? But they're still not a side that I necessarily would want to face. To be honest, this is doing Panthers a little bit of a disservice because they are a very tight knit outfit. When they are on form, they can really they could definitely take this pool. But this is a really dirty pool. I love it.
Yeah, I think this is as well balanced anyone's pool there is that we've seen thus far. Czech did their job qualifying in a tough South Division without some of their regulars. Quentin Roger not playing with them. He'll be elsewhere. Bossel not there this year. Lapagnol not there this year. Bichon been gone for a couple of years. They've really gone down. And they're, I said there was a lot of question marks going into that qualifying. And they got through, and they'll be tough. They're a French team that runs their systems and will be good. Ranelagh, defending champs, not quite the roster they had last year, and Panthers, the top in that division. I think that is a coin flip. Who's going to come out on top? That will be
the
one
old
of the
three-sided coin.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with you both.
If you're gonna say systems, like okay, maybe it's not quite as stellar a roster as last year, but it was Ranelagh's system and Sam Murphy having the game of his life. But it was that system that got them most of the way to that goal.
Yeah, they're a really well coached group.
Really, tight.
So it's
like a toy.
There will be a drop off, but we know what the style of play is going to be like, and we know that that can propel them far. As we have a little look at Pool D.
Pool D. I'll keep looking for my three-sided coin until then.
There's two Panthers.
And we've had a Panthers versus Panthers game, which I had the joy of commentating at Spring Invite. It's very easy because it's always Panthers with the disc. But take us through this one, Larkin.
Yeah, 3SB, Alba, and Panthers Burn going up against each other. We'll see how serious 3SB's ambitions are. I know that they've got a certain... I don't know, I kind of expected a little bit more from their national side at Euros, and a good few of those players are going to be playing with 3SB, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on. I do think they deserve to be the top seed. Alba have got some strong talent, but I think, Alba against 3SB will be the ultimate equivalent of a fist fight, and then, we'll see how Burn do.
If they will feel the burn. Benji?
Yeah, Panthers Burn won Swiss Nationals last year, which is the first time there's not been a Frisbee or Fab winner in God knows how long. They never kind of made that next kick on. Potentially it could be now. Arguably, 3SB were the team of the early season in the Open Division. I know that Mooncatchers won Elite Invite, but 3SB looked mighty impressive every time I saw them. They're a big physical team, and when they are pumped, they just dominate teams. They can be so much fun to watch, and the Czechs flattered to deceive a little bit as EUC, as you said, but I kind of think they got it together at the end, so maybe if they can take a little bit of that into this, who knows? And Alba, if they play to their best, then they will absolutely cause problems at this tournament.
Yeah, I was sipping the 3SB Kool-Aid at the start of the season. I jumped off the wagon a little bit after EUCF. EUC, they didn't have Riedlo, so until the very end, he cut his throwing hand open and was out. So maybe that will account for a bit of a better performance here if they're in full health. They do look the class of this group. Again, I think I agree with you both. Alba should be fighting them for the top seed. And Panthers of Bern, they knocked off another Swiss team, Solebang, to get in the game to go in EUCR. They've got some of the Pohlmeyer brothers down there, Schwartz, the left-handed distributor. They've got a lot of good parts, but they really will need everything to be firing to knock off the likes of these other two, rather. There it is. Benji, talk about it.
BFD La Fota looking to try and, in a way, it feels weird to say re-establish themselves, but last year they were, I think, comfortably the three behind Clapham and what we thought was going to be Mooncatchers, and then ended up being Ranelagh. Whereas in the past, it felt like you could just pencil them in for the final. Be interesting to see what they've kind of learned from EUC, maybe trying to bring some different systems and people involved, and see how that new leadership, in a way, can work. KFK, they're a little bit mercurial, I think. You kind of never quite know what to expect with them, but they've been around long enough. They were a good finisher at the World Championships last year. They're not an easy out, and people have been telling me for a good couple of years that, Bristol, this is Bristol's year. Last year, they got themselves into a great position at UKU Nationals and then proceeded to triple eliminate themselves, and they came one game away from doing the same thing this year. So, look, I would love to see them put it all together. I think it'd be great to get a new team on a European stage, getting things clicking, but so far there's not quite been that finishing touch.
Lork?
But it's at the end of the tournaments that Bristol kind of stumble, right? You know, nearly repeating a triple elimination would have been hilariously heartbreaking for them. I do think, when their spirits are up, those rats can gnaw through more than you'd expect, and KFK need to pay a lot of attention if they want to get past the Bristol boys. But yeah, La Fata, I guess technically they're trying to reestablish themselves, but oh my goodness, that roster. So, yeah.
The one thing I'll say about the La Fota roster is it's as few external players as we've seen in a long time for La Fota. They don't
I think that's
cover
good,
themselves in pickups like let's say Mooncatchers might or whatever, but they've always got this 4, 5, 6 very handy players on that roster. This year I think it's 3 that I read off of that roster, and so it is a very Bologna. They've got a couple external Bologna, but Italians that are regular.
I was going to ask what you counted as a pickup.
Yeah, okay, so they've got Pavan, they've got Barsazzi.
Yeah,
but this is as complete a Bologna unit as I've seen in a while at La Fota. So let's see if
in terms of international players, it's very sparse compared to how we've seen it in the past. We'll break down precisely who in the extras, but I think it's good for La Fota and just for the scene as a whole when you get those players kind of staying with their hometown clubs rather than hopping over.
Yeah, looking forward to see Rabbits after we had him in the booth at EBUCC as well for Bristol. And KFK, the one thing I will say is they've got a contingent that are not natural Danes as well. We'll talk about that in the patron-only section. Moving on to Pool F, Lorcan.
Well,
for
the first time ever, 12 years ago, European champions. 2 weeks ago, UK champions.
What?
Chevron Action Flash taking the top spot in this
Genuinely
group.
thought it would never happen. Genuinely thought it would never happen.
Almost sad that it happened, but almost never milked a cow.
It's sad. It's sad that it happened when I wasn't there. That is sad.
That's what really bothered me as well. But yeah, I got some thoughts on that. We'll see how they can translate it over. Is it going to be just one of those we've done it and they're spent kind of situations, or can they bring it gentle? I mean, they're so much fun. They're so playful. They had a fantastic run 2 years ago, and they know each other inside and out. And then forward, I feel like forward kind of a little bit underperforming in more recent seasons, but we'll see how they can do. But this group for me is like a giant question mark. I'm not really sure how these 3 teams will get on, but I am very excited to see it.
Benj.
Agreed. fully agreed. Like Chevron, they've done the unthinkable. Now, can they do it again? Can they repeat the once in a lifetime achievement? Who knows? Gentle, it felt like a couple of years ago we were consistently going to see them in the semi-finals. That hasn't quite happened, but there's a lot of this side that tasted gold with Belgium at EUC, so who knows if that propels them forward. And speaking of forward, yeah, kind of the stars waned a little bit, but certainly we've seen how good some of the talent can be when it all dovetails together.
Yep, agreed. Gentle. The roster looked better than the performance at EUCR, we'll say. I was just waiting for them to kind of, they lost to some strong German teams over at the EUCR, and they got in the game to go, won the game to go handily, but didn't quite bring exactly the prominent play I was imagining. Chevron, looking forward to see if they can back it up now. And forward, I think they've lost a lot of their power. Next group.
We've got Wall City from Berlin, smashed from the UK, or Smashed, regardless however you pronounce it. We got those guys, and Bratislava's Outsiders. I think you comfortably put Wall City as probably the favourites in the pool. Smashed, this is their third, fourth time at Euros maybe? So now they need to be at the stage where they're not just, even though they were never quite happy to be there, they need to start making their way into those brackets and, taking some teams out on the way. For Outsiders, this is a tough pool, but again, you've had to earn your way to EUCF, so certainly it's not a free hit.
Lork.
Yeah, Wall City look to dominate. The other two are certainly outsiders who are going to try very hard not to get smashed.
Yeah, and Smash D were smashed. I think it's the same question we had with Skyed or Sky D back in the day. Who knows? But it doesn't really matter. Let's see how they play. Wall City looked good, and I think they're going to continue. I am looking forward as well to see what the Slovakians bring, especially knowing that Philip Molnar will not be there, but he may have some family allegiance running that show. Let's look at our next group. Lorcan.
I mean, this is a little bit wild and out there. Jet Set, curious to see how they will do. A lot of Belgian talent at this tournament and how it's divvied up between the different players. I would have thought Jet Set might be the weakest coming in, but I'm pretty sure I'm wrong about that. We'll get into it a little bit more. MUC got some good players. I think probably challenge for the top. I think any of these three teams could get the afternoon off on Friday. Costa Rica Grande got plenty of young and exciting talent to take these on. So this one's probably maybe the most open pool in the open division.
Yeah, get that three-sided coin again. Benji?
Yeah, Jet Set qualified by winning the spring invite, which they hosted. Dan Demiray was playing with them at that tournament, and then played for Mooncatchers at Elite Invite, and thus qualified for EUCF White. Baller move, to be honest. I fully respect it. But they're a team. Jet Set are a team that are more than just the one player. You don't win the spring invite against some of the teams you played against off the strength of just one set of legs, to be honest. MUC qualified out of a very tough region. There are a lot of teams that we could easily have seen there that didn't make it. I'm thinking chiefly about last year's semi-finalist Heidi's, which did not even make it into EUCF this time, which shows some of the strength in that region. And MUC have been, when they've got everyone fit and healthy, a really good team for a good few years. We've seen that whenever those talents have played elsewhere for the national teams as well. And I love watching Costa Rica Grandes. They're always a little bit spicy. I think that's great. They can absolutely boat race teams. I've seen it happen at this level.
And we saw it just last week at EUCR. They boat raced to the tune of 7-11, the Slurpee score final, and eliminated ISNO in an upset game to go.
Do you consider 7-11 a boat racing?
A 4-point lead in a game that only got to 11. I mean, it's a handy win. We'll say it's a handy win.
Yeah, you're beating them by more than 50%, I suppose. Yeah, that's a good point. That's the definition of a boat racing.
Yeah, I mean, it's more handy than that 15-11, the same margin, but more points scored. Anyhow, Jet Set, not just Dan Desmarais, there was also Tom Blassman playing with them for the qualifying and Luca Bouchon, who won't be there. So that team is substantially different than the one that qualified. And MUC, I mean, again, that makes this a pool that is primed for the picking. You've seen it here first on ULTI.TV, the EUCF European Ultimate Championship Finals pools reveal with Lorcan Murray and Benji Reese and myself, Stefan Rapazzo. Thank you very much for joining us. We've had a blast. Let us know what you think. Leave your comments.